want to talk a little bit about our experiences at Lost Trails in Pennsylvania. It was about a 3-hour drive from Connecticut to Lost Trails, and the way they have it set up, you actually have to go inside the building to do your registration. It's a beautiful facility. There's washrooms in there. They sell all types of ATVs, dirt bikes, motorcycles. If you need parts, that's a place where you can go. There's people out there riding their ATVs out in the woods here while we're doing our thing. So anyways, once you get there, you leave the parking lot. You actually got to drive through a bit of an industrial center before you get out to the trails themselves. Speed limit along there is 10 miles an hour, and I guess they're pretty particular about people maintaining that, so please be aware of that. Once you get in there, they request that you stay at 10 miles an hour because it's two-way through there. And to be honest with you, it's a little bit rough. There's a lot of ups and downs with the trail. Could they smooth that out a little bit? Yeah, but I think they probably keep it like that just for everyone to keep their speeds down. Once you ride in, about 5 minutes in, you have an option of turning to the right, which will take you over to a bridge that crosses a stream, or you could veer to the left and you could do the stream crossing. The crossing itself is about 20 feet across, and there is one section where you drop down and you probably get up to about 18 inches deep. So be ready for that. You could end up with wet feet. But it is absolutely doable. We've done it in our ATVs, and of course our Rzr had no problems going across that. Once you get across the other side, there's a lot of hairpins, and you start climbing. There's a fair bit of elevation at Lost Trails. You end up going up over 1,000 feet from base up to the top. And it's pretty good condition. We stayed on the green trail the whole time, and it was probably about a 2-hour ride, 2.5-hour ride on the green trail doing the whole loop, averaging about 7 miles an hour. There were places where you could go a little bit quicker, but because of the turns, because of rocky areas, because of the dips in the trail, it really was hard to go faster. Like if you're looking for a place to go, you want to open it up and just let it rip, then Lost Trails is going to be a huge disappointment for you. It's more of a crawl along, if that is such a term. So the trails themselves, because this is our third time there, we have a pretty good idea of where we're going. To be honest with you, the first time we went there, I kind of felt a little lost, and so I was living the name of the place, Lost Trails, and we got turned around a few times. We ended up going on some trails that were much more difficult than what we had intended to do. The second trip out there, we were pretty fresh from the first trip, so we had learned from our mistakes. And this trip out, it had probably been about 2 years since we'd been there. The memory came back, and we were able to just keep your eyes open and watch the trail signs, and you should be okay. When you get up close to the tunnel, you go through this giant shale area, and that place can be a little fun because you can now step on it a little bit, and there's some turns and they're banked, and it's fun. That's actually one of my favorite parts in there. I actually want to do a little bit more in that area, but because the machine isn't broken in yet, I had to take it easy. I had to stay out of the mud too, so I got bucket lists for the next time we go there. The tunnel itself speaks for itself. It's a lot of fun. It's about 200 feet long. It's always wet inside. It's always cool inside, and it's amazing how loud your machines are in there. Once you get out the other side, you go for a large loop that loops around to the left and starts coming back. And it's a lot of dips through there. Again, if it was smoothed out, you could probably fly through there in a few minutes. So with the dips, you're there considerably longer. Once you get around the other side of the loop and you start heading towards the intersection that would take you to the lake, which the intersection will be on your right-hand side, your turn, you do start running into some rocky areas where they still say it's a green trail, but it's starting to get a little bit more complicated. You're going to have to start looking at your tracks. You're going to have to start looking at where you go. Keep into consideration your ground clearance. If you have one of the bigger machines with high ground clearance, it wouldn't be a problem. You could just motorize right up through there. we have about 11 inches. So we had to do some picking and choosing. Once you make your right-hand turn to the lake, it's a short ride until you get to the continental shelf, and that part could be a little rough, and again, you have to start picking your path. It's pretty easy to bottom out in there, but it's only for a short area, and then you get out to the lake itself, which is a really nice little area, nice and quiet. I believe we have some video of us being out there. We were having a picnic. We kind of use that as our halfway point for our ride. We brought in sandwiches and whatnot. Even though it was kind of a cool day out there, we parked in the sun, and we stayed comfortable. From there, you got to be careful when you head back out to go out the same way you come in. There was another trail that you get to earlier that goes off to the right, and we made that mistake. We turned down there, and it wasn't long before we came across no trespassing signs. We had to turn around and head back out the other way. We probably drove for like another 5 miles, or 5 minutes, I mean, and we got back to the intersection where we had originally come off of the main trail and headed right towards the tunnels. At that time, we decided let's do a second loop around, so we turned left there, back onto the original trail, through the shale pit areas, around the tunnel and back, and then we started heading back down. Again, there are some areas there that are pretty rocky. If you don't like rocks, you're not going to like Lost Trails. That's just a fact. I mean, to get to the top of the world, rock, major rock. So, and ground clearance will be an issue if you're on a low riding vehicle. Heading back down, you get to pass through the, what's it called? I guess it's called like the playground. And there's lots of mud pits in there, and little trails and challenges and hills and whatnot. We didn't do that this time around, again, because we're breaking in the machine. But we've been all through there with our Suzuki Eigers. If you look back at older videos on our page from like 2 years ago, you'll find stuff in there from when we went through there with our Eigers. Overall, like I said, it was about a 2.5 hour ride through the 2,000 acre facility that it is, and it was worth it. Some of the beefs I have with the place is you pay almost full price for a passenger. It starts to make it a little bit expensive when you do that. Half price for a passenger, I think, is okay, because really, if there's somebody sitting beside you or there isn't somebody sitting beside you, it really isn't going to make any difference to the park, to the trail, or anything else. So why charge so much for it? Maybe if you charge a little less, you'll get a little bit more people coming in. I don't know. I'm not a business expert. I wish that they would maybe work the trails a little bit more and smooth out some of the dips, and maybe try and clear out some of the bigger rocks. But if you take your time and you're just looking to have fun and spend an afternoon out in the woods, and you're local, then give it a try. It's not so bad. Like I said, it was a 3-hour drive for us, maintaining 60 miles an hour. Would I go back there again? Yeah, we'll go again. I would also like to hit some of the bigger parts. They're a little bit further drive, and we'll probably have to take the RV and do some camping with that one. So with that in mind, stay tuned to the channel, hit like and subscribe, and in the future look for camping ATV trips, because we have that on our bucket list. And thank you.